how do you even begin to tell the story of a country like the United States? It's huge, it's complicated. Well, today we're going to dive into the narrative of one documentary that tries to do just that. We're going to break down how it frames the entire journey of a nation, from its really turbulent beginnings all the way to its status today as a global superpower.
Right out of the gate, the documentary makes this massive comparison. It frames the United States as the modern Roman Empire. And that's not just a catchy title. It's really the core idea that shapes the entire story they're telling, putting it on this epic, almost mythical scale. But, of course, the second you start comparing a nation to Rome, one big question immediately comes to mind, right? What about the fall? After building up this incredible image of power, the whole narrative pivots to this one point of uncertainty. And that central question, well, that's what we're going to be digging into.
To really understand this idea of an empire, you have to go back to its foundations. The documentary argues that this story doesn't kick off with independence. No, it starts with conquest. That's chapter 1 in this epic tale.
So the narrative sets its starting point way back in 1492 with the arrival of Columbus. From that moment on, it frames the next few centuries as this intense period of colonization by European powers. And all of that, as you can imagine, ultimately led to some massive conflicts that completely reshaped who held power in the world.
And the documentary does not pull any punches when it comes to the human toll of this era. It makes a really stark and simple point. Millions of people died. This unbelievable cost of life is presented as the very foundation that this new world was actually built on.
So out of all that conflict, all those colonial wars, the story starts to shift. We go from conquest to creation. The documentary's argument is that this chaotic period directly set the stage for a brand new country to be formed. And that moment, of course, has a date. The documentary points to July 4th, 1776, as the instant this new nation was officially born. If you're following that empire narrative, this is the day the future giant basically announced its existence to the rest of the world.
All right, so the nation is officially on the map. And from here, the story just accelerates. The next phase, according to the documentary, is this period of absolutely relentless growth, the start of what it calls an unstoppable rise to global dominance.
And they don't mince words here. The film makes the incredibly bold claim that since it was founded, the USA has, and this is a direct quote from the source, conquered the world in every aspect possible. I mean, wow, that language really shows you the sheer scale of the power they're trying to describe.
So how exactly did this happen? How does a nation get to that point? Well, according to this narrative, it all comes down to two main pillars. First, there's the raw power, building what it calls the most formidable military in modern history. And second, it's about influence through innovation, achieving, as they put it, countless astonishing human accomplishments in everything from science to culture.
So, after charting this incredible rise from conquests all the way to global dominance, the documentary brings us right back to the present day. And it kind of suggests that reaching this absolute peak of power is exactly what makes the future so incredibly uncertain. And that brings us full circle, right back to where we started. By framing America as a modern-day Rome, built on a history of conquest, defined by this incredible rise, and wielding this unbelievable power, the documentary forces us all to face that ultimate historical question. Can any empire, no matter how powerful it seems, really last forever?